The judiciary, the media, and NGOs in search of opposition forces, the convergence of political and military circles to the point of forming an establishment sharing numerous legal and illegal interests, makes the need for assertive opposition forces outside these spheres all the more pressing. Civil society, taken in the Doctrine sense to mean intermediary organizations through which individuals can resist the state. In Pakistan has had to overcome onslaughts of repression. Trade unions and leftist organizations were, for instance, very quickly dismantled. As for student movements, they have been more sporadic, as is often the case. But the press has fulfilled an important function despite recurrent episodes of censorship. Of all the institutions that contribute to a sort of balance of power, it is the judicial apparatus, however, that when it has shown some independence, has acted the most effectively. This apparatus is primarily optimized by the Supreme Court, but the High Courts play a major role as well. The Election Commission has also begun to assert itself, and NGOs have made a big impact in some domains. In both such organizations, retired judges and lawyers are generally well represented. The judges, from submission to control. The history of Pakistan has been punctuated not only by 3 constitutions but also by a series of constitutional amendments that have altered the nature of the regime, such as the infamous 8th Amendment, Provisional Constitutional Orders (PCOs), and Legal Framework Orders, such as in 1970 and 2002. This intense production of legal norms, which persisted even when the army ruled the country, reflects a sustained interest in the form that politics should take from a legal perspective. This is partly the result of a colonial heritage that India also shares. Not only did the British institute all manner of courts in the Raj as well as a wide variety of legal courts, but moreover the intelligentsia involved in founding both the Congress Party and the Muslim League practically all took their Bachelor of Law degree in the United Kingdom or in India. Jinnah, who for a long time was a member of both parties, thus became a barrister. The curriculum that Zulfikar would also follow in the same institution. Lincoln's Inn at a later date. But while in India the preponderance of lawyers in the public sphere facilitated the drafting of the Constitution of 1950. In Pakistan, constitutional debates would be hostage to and later victims of security considerations, as we have seen, and the judges would end up being quoted by both civilians and the military, sometimes even arbitrating uneasily between the two camps, but lately acquiring no room for maneuver. The judiciary's fluctuating docility, the constitutional backbone, the British bequeath to its former colony, first of all followed from the Government of India Act of 1935, which gave the Governor-General J.J. considerable powers. Jinnah and his successors used this liberally and repeatedly. This law was supplemented by the 1947 Act, right after partition, designed to set up an assembly in charge of drafting the constitution and enacting laws. The Governor-General was, however, more active than the Constituent Assembly, which did not meet for either very long or very frequently. From 1947 to 1956, the Assembly passed 160 laws, while the Governor-General promulgated 376 ordinances. The Government of India Act of 1935 granted the courts a degree of autonomy, especially the Federal Court, which acted as Supreme Court. It was further reinforced by Section 223A, an amendment the Assembly passed in 1954, giving individuals the power to petition the high courts, provincial level courts, when they believed they were victim of an abuse of power by the state. The Assembly then strove to broaden the scope of its action. On 21 September 1954, it amended the Government of India Act to oblige the Governor-General J.J. to choose the Prime Minister and then the ministers from among its ranks. The head of government thus had to remain in office as long as he had a majority among the members of the J.J. had to read the government's opinion and act only upon its initiative. In reaction to this erosion of his prerogatives, Ghulam Muhammad went on the offensive on 24 October 1954, dismissing the Assembly and declaring a state of emergency. On 8 November 1954, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Maulvi Khan, lodged a petition to by virtue of Section 223A with the Sindh High Court disputing the validity of the measures taken by Ghulam Muhammad. The court broke the issue down into three questions. Was the GG's assent needed to validate Assembly decisions? Did it have the right to dissolve the Assembly? And did the petition filed by Tamizuddin Khan fall within the High Court's jurisdiction? The judges answered the last question in affirmative and ruled in favor of the Assembly for the other two. The Assembly was sovereign and the Governor-General's power to dissolve it was thus limited.